Oh my goodness, James. It has begun.
It has begun.
It has become welcome, welcome, welcome. I have you for 30 minutes, but I might keep you for a bit longer. I'm just I'm just going to prepare you and everyone listening that we might go over time. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If you're just tuning in, thank you for being with me. I'm Tina O, and this is my dear, dear, dear friend, James Gardiner. And this is a story from the core conversation because James is launching his book, All In with Love, his journey to the hero within. And I'm just going to toss to you first, James, and just say, hey, welcome. I love you. It's been a freaking amazing journey. And it's a total pleasure and celebration to be hanging with you and rocking this out as you are in pre-sales. So yay, you! Hi, James.
High five. Hello, Miss T. How are you? Thank you. Hello. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for having me on this. And yes, blessed to be a close friend of yours, though. Truly,
Mm.
truly. So
Aw.
I do want to say that honestly, you've had more impact on me in 2 years than most people have in my entire life. So thank you.
Aw. Thank you. I just want to
Mhm.
take it in. It's like, so you take that. Thank you for that. That's wow. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. You're looking good. You're looking tired.
I am beat up.
You're looking like the title of your book. You're looking all in. All in with love. And I just want to like out myself here. Like, didn't I totally like blow this a week ago? Was I not supposed to be your first interview? And did
Yeah.
I like not show up?
Mhm.
You can like, yeah, you can out me here because yeah, I
She's
didn't even
out.
show up.
You're fired.
Yeah. She's not perfect. She's
Uh,
not perfect. Um, yeah. In fact, I think your response to me, I think on the Vox, I think you sent me a Voxer that went, "What am I going to do with you?" Is what you said.
especially since we just talked about it, not even 24 hours before or something. I don't even know. Well, it's all
Oy.
good. That's why I love you, T. That's why I love you. Come on.
It's
It's
just
the
us here,
Tino
right?
experience. Tino life is chock full of Lucky Charms, baby. Let me tell you.
And it's all in. Why
Yeah.
don't we start there? We're going to spend some time together, and I called this a story from the core conversation because, as you know, my devotion in my work is story from the core. And to me, story is narrative on creation energy itself, which is that core place. And when I walk beside an author, my job is to hold them to what's emerging from them, and whatever it is, like as winky, wonky, bonkers, whatever as it may be, or as, when I think about your book, as symphonic as it is, as, as energetically almost otherworldly some at times as it is, the way that your book found its way with different arenas, different voices, different places that is totally authentic to you. Like it is core to you. That's that's my work in the world, and I wanted to open, James, a little bit on the title of your book because your title is All In with Love, and your journey to the hero within. And so there's two key words for me. It's love and hero.
Mm.
Hero is a really big word, especially today. At least it is for me. And I thought we'd start there. Like, what does hero even mean to you? And why do you think it's relevant, like today? Where would you want to go with that?
Oh, that's a great question. Everyone needs a hero in their life. I just realized that it's the younger version of me that's the true hero in my life. So, um, what is a hero? For I grew up thinking that, as a lot of people do. I mean, hero is this larger than life character. It's saving the day. It's standing on top of the podium athletically. It's being heralded with accolades on stage, or being the drive and shout of applause. You're uplifting people, and all of that is fine and dandy. I think the true hero and the evolution of me has come to realize that a true hero does not need anything external to validate the heroicism he or she is capable of. And so for me, I truly believe in my heart that the inner child is the hero to
Hmm.
us all. It allows us to be, they have the superhero ability to be present in everything they do. Think about that. They're more resilient than we could ever be. They bounce back. They cry. They're on to the
Mm,
next thing, on to the next adventure.
mm,
Right?
mm,
No doesn't exist in their language. Why not? Why not me? Why not? That exists in their language. There are no expectations. Living like that, that's heroic.
mm,
And so the hero within, and the true hero now in the work that I do, is old and young. That's the
mm.
true hero. It's James sitting here with little Jimmy. That's the hero in my world. And I would suspect for Tina, it's little Christina and Tina sitting there. Like, that's you. That's the beauty. That's a hero to me. Yeah.
Huh, you know what I love? Oh, you know what I'm curious about though? Tell me about why you think that. Like, why do you? I mean, you wrote a book. You spent 400 frickin' days and more. Like your work. I just want to call that out. Your work ethic. I work with a lot of authors, as you know, and your work ethic. I want to couch that with this is not a statement to say that one is better than the other. Everyone finds their way in how their book gets written. And the thing that blew my mind though was that how key discipline is for you, showing up every day to the page. Um, and so for every day how many days was it now?
Well, total of 607. I think 459 of those were straight through or something like that.
Oh, just happens to be 459. So how many days with that? You're like, well, it was somewhere about 450. No, it was 459 days. Of course.
Because I had on my bookmark on my computer, I had the day
Oh,
calculator tabbed on my bookmark, so I knew always where I was.
okay. You're also an Aries. I'm just going to throw that in here. Right? You're like, these boxes matter. This shit matters, Overbury. It's like, show up, 459. Okay, so on that, then so you spent 459 days writing about this. So I know hero matters to you, but you wrote a book for us.
Mhm.
So can you tell me a little bit about why heroes for us as your reader?
Because the world is chock full of people that are on an elusive quest for happiness, and
Okay.
live truly by the playbook that society gives them when they walk through the doorway to adulthood. And people need to realize that if they reconnect or strengthen or embrace their younger selves in that ability to show up in everything that they do, they will live a fuller, more rich, more wonderful, adventure driven life. That is a gift. That's the only thing that really matters when we're laying on our bed, in the throes of moving on in a transition to the next life, did we live a life where, we want to play, we want to have fun, we want to embrace the possibility. Think about it. How often is the word dream used in our language? Dream is usually associated with what? And as a child, as children, that was our only weapon. That was it. The ability to dream in any given situation.
Hmm.
You know, Adulthood decides to take that away from us. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be at all. Yeah.
Hmm. That was our only weapon as a child. I love that. I really love that. You and I had a conversation a good year ago, um, and you asked me. We were both watching Vikings. I mean, you were like way into Vikings, and I was like, oh, season 2 or whatever. And and we got into a conversation about um, the sword, like having to die. The whole scene when what's his name? You'll know because I'll forget. But the guy who died without his sword, and they had to go back and put the sword in his hand, and la 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 la. Um, and you asked me, "What's your sword?" You said, "Tina, what's your sword? What do you need to die holding on to? What's going to release you?" And I remember it hit me so deep, and right, because it connects to what I think you're saying is it's our greatest weapon is our dream. So thank you for that. Yeah,
Mm.
because that changed me. That question changed me. Um, I'm curious into your process of writing this because having walked beside you through this, your book moves into really surprising places. Um, and the way that you get there is very surprising. You shift genres within the book itself, moving from traditional narrative, moving from almost Shakespearean poetry into traditional narrative into like screenwriting, and it's like this all of this. And I wonder if you can share a little bit about how that came to you or through you from your core.
Mm. Well, as you know, I'm a big uh, flag bearer of truth, and so uh, I knew when I started this, I had done some work. I had survived my jungle experience, as I talk about in the book. I had come out of that kind of into the nether regions of my mind to find out who the hell I was for 2 years, and uh, I had a pretty good blueprint of this is James. He's a man and a boy that loves music, listens to music every day,
Mm,
lives in a movie every day. He has a score that accompanies him every day. He has a full gamut of emotion. He loves acting. He's been on stage. He loves the epicness of Vikings and things like that, and also loves the tenderness of the Notebook and you know the innocence of Bugs Bunny and all of these things. And I'm like, if I'm going to write a story, my life story and my reconnection to little Jimmy, I have to honor everything. And I feel
mm,
that as you know, the work I do as a coach in the world is I bring all of that into my lens of how I do the work that I do. So it
mm,
just seemed like a natural way to honor it. I didn't know how I was going to do it when I started writing. That's the beauty of the creative alchemy part. Um, but that's it. It's that artistic. I don't know how did Monet come up with his thing.
right.
It's
Yeah.
just like I don't know, right? Yeah.
You know what, though? I think it's worth spending some time here, because, we don't know, and yet we know exactly when it hits us.
Mm.
And I watched that happen with you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I remember, and I think Nicole spoke to it about when the writer in you kind of lit up and we're like, whoa, who's this guy? Oh my God, there's the writer. And it was like, and it just came out. It looked like a match. It looked like that. What did it feel like?
Oh, it's well, you're an actor as well. You know those moments when you know that you land something on stage and the dialogue just lands and all of a sudden you're in it and you feel it and you're just on the roll of it. You don't over process it. You don't what you just you're long for it, but it's magical. And it's the same thing. It just this whole process just landed, and I could feel it. Like there probably wasn't a honestly. Well, I'm sure there was. I was going to say, there's probably few and far between the number of days at some point where I didn't get emotional about what was coming out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't. It's not that it's all doom and gloom or anything, right? I mean, you
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Hey, that's a riot.
Just when you're so Brenda St. Louis, our mutual friend, said this: when you're so connected to tenderness, it's just there's something that is completely open and free. And even when I've been doing all these press interviews, you think after talking about the same thing, it loses some emotional sensitivity, and it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's like that floodgate of truth is open. It's just there. It's just like there's something magical about it. That's what it is.
Magic is one of your words for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you talk about how it's not all doom and gloom, and it's not. And yet, I want to bring some edge into this because I think people who don't know you but experience you see that you're a super playful guy. You're like super sensitive, meaning you're vulnerable. You're emotionally available. That's who you are. That's how you write. Um, and a, and a lot of people, I would say anyway, haven't met publicly your edge, and you've got one. Like, you've got one. And in fact, I would say that your book is a list of all of those edge moments where you're like, pardon me, but fucking face down in the mud a few times, like a number of times.
Mhm.
And so there's been a cost to you at being all in with love. And I want to start there first, and then I have a part two. I'm wondering if you can share, like, which is what comes up for you when I say the cost of being all in with love.
Well, that's a reoccurring theme in my book. Whenever you go all in on anything, there's always a toll to pay to the ferryman on that journey. And it can be going all in something that you love, like a sporting event, but there's always a price to pay for going all in. And, those moments, Tina, those face down moments, I've always been a warrior.
Hmm.
And, hence the arena speak in the book and all of that. I mean, it's clearly there. Um, you you begin to get weary. The sword starts to get heavier and heavier as you continue to force your way through that shield wall, if you will, onto that next adventure, or wanting that relationship to work, or wanting that job, or whatever it is. And what I've realized is the only weapon we really can wield is to go all in with love. And so, that egoic sword that I reference a lot has been, you know, um, exchanged for a playful love blade of love that gracefully flows
Hmm.
into whatever's next in his or her life, in my life. I you had said you had talked to me about this, that, for me, it's fate isn't up to us. Fate and destiny was my mythical and unanswerable question for a long time. It's got to be
Mhm.
fate. There's a destiny out there. We can't control that. And all we can do is control to go all in with love in every situation we can.
Mhm.
Come what may, grace and acceptance, and some play and some fun.
And yet, again, I'm going to call this edge piece out because you're such a typical author. Because you know what authors do? They Because the journey's over, man. You're in the transformed place already. You're like, it's all grace. It's
Well,
all
that's it.
good.
I mean,
Give me, yeah. Like, tell me about the sword. Tell me
well,
about
what
the
do you want to
egoic
know? Talk to
sword.
me. I'll tell you about the fucking sword, baby. What do you
Okay,
want to know?
you want to go over, Brie? Let's
You want to
go,
go? Let's bring it. What do you want? Talk to me. Hey, talk to Jimmy. Let's go.
Jimmy.
What do you, Jimmy? What do you want to know, though? I
I
mean,
don't
like,
know. I think what it is for your book to be of service to anyone reading it. Um, not to be. It is of service of anyone reading it, but for this interview to be of service to anyone reading it, it's like they need to know that you see them because you've been there. And
oh
so,
fuck,
where are the theirs you've been? Anything you want to share about? I don't know, some of the shittier parts of the of the egoic sword. They're like, oh,
oh fuck
that.
yeah! Like,
Okay.
I look, I'm here. I am basically. I speak and I'm a lighthouse for women with with the language that I use, a
Yeah.
conscious male, yada yada yada. Well, you know, X number of years ago, I was the male that every one of you ladies out there fucking despise, right? The man that found worth in an extramarital fling, and would be on stage in Chippendales back in my New York days just to get my fix of I'm worthy because I wasn't booking an acting gig,
Mm.
right? Because I was whatever, and then turning into the miserable curmudgeon, typical constricting male as you start to age, sitting there while your life partner is expanding in their ability to grow and want and do things, um, and just fucking battle tested, like
Mm.
I've put myself through the shit, through the
Right.
shit. I probably shouldn't be alive a number of times. I almost felt like I was going to get whacked in New York City by the mob at one point. And you know about that.
Yeah.
Like, the want for fame and self-worth or attention to prove my self-worth put me in some fucking crazy ass situations. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Uh, however, you know,
Mhm.
culminating and at the end of the book, towards the end of the book, where there's a couple defining moments that happen that are life changing, and I think we've all been there where we are in the bottom of the shit swamp. There's no way out. It's not dark night of the soul, it's dark nights, plural, of the soul. We've all been there,
Yeah.
many of us. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say we all. I can't go there, but many of us. And there's a way out, and for all of us, somehow, some way, there's a way out.
Mm. Love it. Yeah, you speak to the jungle experience, what you call the jungle experience, and I'm not going to go into it here because it's the third act of your book, and it's you know what I find interesting about the third act, and so I always break down writing, and James knows this, into three sections, right? Act one, establishing the known, what we know, what we know, we don't know. Act two, the unknown. Act three, the new known. And your jungle experience. For me as a story coach, you risked losing me a lot because it all of a sudden it was like that symphonic or HD world of yours or dreamscape world of yours was leading the story. And I understand now, and I haven't lived it, so I can't say I understand it on a cellular level like you do, but I understand now that a jungle experience is where all of your beingness collides, like all that you are collides, and you do an exceptional job at inviting us into your experience of all of that happening. It's freaking loud in there. Like there's a lot in there. And then of course, I'm not going to give it away, but of course, you know, you're where you're reminding us, right? You said it right in the beginning of this conversation. You said what you love about kids or children is why they're heroes is they cry and they get on with it. They cry and they get on with it. And is there anything inside you want to share about speaking? And I'm going to say speaking to men specifically, because yeah, I just am around putting down shame.
Well, shame shame isn't sexist. Like
Right.
shame doesn't affect men more than it affects women, right? So, um, you
I
know,
love that. Sorry, I'm just like interrupting you because look at
no,
that. Shame isn't sexist. Damn. Okay, sorry, back to you. Hijack.
no,
Back
it's
to
all
you.
good. You know, I'm fortunate enough to work with some men in this world, and you know, as you know, with Ben and the Goliath Foundation, we work with men as well, and it's the first thing we talk about. It's just like shame. Shame can be a shame can be a friend. Shame can be an ally. You know, it doesn't. I look at the shame that I experienced during those jungle events, and you know, still experience coming out of the jungle as I'm healing,
Hmm.
and I can connect to it right now, and I have a sense of grace about it because it's an integral part of who I am now. And
Hmm.
so, you know, putting throwing shame in the back seat of your car because it maybe never goes away. Maybe it goes on the trunk, you put it on the roof rack, but it doesn't go away, right? And having it all come with you, you know, on your journey forward. That's that's heroism too. You know, learning to dance with shame and guilt, and then you know you pass off, and you know you get in the loving arms of acceptance, and you're doing the tango, and you know you're living life. I think you know I don't know what you're asking about men in terms of if you want me to say something to men out there. Um, you know, I know men are suffering.
Hmm.
There's a lot of men out there that sit behind that facade because again society tells us what how to behave as men, right? But I can tell you this for any men out there, uh, the greatest gift I had in this journey of walking out of the jungle was walking out in my balance with the divine feminine and what that means to me. That has been my superhero formula mixed in there. And that doesn't mean I go out and wear a sundress and hug trees and sing kumbaya or whatever men think that means,
Right.
right?
Not
Uh,
that there's anything wrong with that.
I know, witchy lady. Um, right, but
I have a dress in my closet for you, James. I've saved it for you. Little sundress.
yeah, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
hear
can't
you.
even remember your question. It was something about men. Sorry, but
No, I
yeah.
think yeah, I get it. I think you called it. And I actually really appreciate you actually shifting gears and going, yeah, I'm not going to answer that over Burry because shame isn't sexist. I actually really appreciate that you didn't answer my question. Instead, you went, no, we're going this direction.
Mm,
I really appreciate that. So I want to finish this up with just two last questions. You know, I always ask this of any writer when they first start, and it shifts, as you know, right, as we go, which is it's all about the impact of your book. So what do you hope for when a reader has, you know, when they close the last page, or they close the book, you know, what are you hoping that they think or want to do, or like what's going on in them? What do you hope happens after they finish your book?
I hope they close the cover of my book. They pick up a pen, they open up a blank journal, and they start to write their own story of reconnection, uh, and find out what that relationship means to them. For sure. Yep. Yep. And we all have a story. You and I have always talked about this. We all have a story. Everyone has a story to tell. Doesn't mean you have to write a book, right? Everyone has a story. And I truly believe the world needs more adults walking hand in hand with the inner child. That's the book. It will move people. You will have, as you know, the gamut of emotional experience in this book. And I think at the end, you're going to go introspective into what's my relationship with my childhood and my younger self.
Thank you. And my last question, sidebar for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to your inner child first. I want to
Okay.
talk to Jimmy.
Little
Jimmy. I do. I want to talk to little Jimmy. One of the things that that is really remarkable about your book is actually the name dropping, which isn't name dropping. It's actually like legit happened. And I suspect that all of those little things, all of those people that you met, were like little Jimmy moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder if little Jimmy wants to name any of the stars that like took his breath away. Like, oh my God, I met this person and that person and this person, that person. You got a little top 10 list, little Jimmy?
Top 10, Jimmy. It's funny how we always have to channel Nicole Natras when we see Jimmy.
Channeling Nicole. Of course. I didn't bring Baby Yoda though. I know.
God.
Nicole.
It's a good question, you know, and it's interesting. I just want to say, Tina, that you're absolutely right. The name dropping or the celebrity moments, however you want to label them, I didn't look at those as little Jimmy moments, but they sure as shit are little Jimmy moments. They sure as hell are. Yeah. Tony Bennett, Elizabeth Perkins, from Big. I gotta love Big. I dated Camille Grammer for a little while, right? Kelsey Grammer's wife. I worked out with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I had Michelle Rodriguez give me a kiss after a shot of tequila, just out of the blue for no reason at all. So I felt like Jimmy was playing Spin the Bottle back at the Side Out days, which was in the book. Colin Farrell, Robin Williams plays a huge part in this book, as you know, towards the end. Len Wiseman, Kate Beckinsale, that husband and wife power duo. Len was a big catalyst in this, in the LA section of the book. Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, the Baldwin brothers, Billy and Steven. I met three out of the five Usual Suspects from the movie Usual Suspects. Kevin Spacey too had a production office in the same building as my restaurant. I'd see him every day in the parking garage. Kevin, Jim, you know. I mean, there's just so Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock was a great one. Chris Penn, God rest his soul.
You're missing the big one. Come on, the big
What's
one.
Britney Spears.
Oh, okay, there's that one too. Oh yeah, the big one.
My wife nanny for Britney Spears. What's that? What
I'm thinking of the big one. Come on, you're a hero. You're a freaking hero. Come on, James.
William Shatner. William fucking Shatner. Little
William
Jimmy.
fucking Shatner. You just got to say it like that.
You have to,
William
because
fucking Shatner. Yeah.
especially after the story, you're like, William fucking Shatner.
That
God
is
bless him.
hands down in my top 3 favorite stories in the book. Yeah,
Yeah. What are your top 3? Nine
good
Hearts?
question. That's a really good question. I freaking fell in love with you. We didn't even go into the athlete part of the story. That's a whole other interview we could do. One of my favorite stories is I can't remember the name of it because I'm not good at remembering. I'm so in the moment that I don't remember the things, but it was The Boys in Blue.
Yep. 9 Hearts. Yeah.
9 of Hearts. I feel it in my body when I think about that story. When I first read that story, I was like, holy shit, this guy can write. I was like, what? And I say that like I'm a bit of a snob for sure. I will own that. We can all create art. I am not a snob about art at all. Not at all. We can all create art, and you have lots of artful, authentic moments, because the thing about art is that I don't have to get it. I just have to feel it.
Yeah.
And that is art. But the craft of writing, I'm a bit of a snob about. And that, to me, 9 of Hearts, I was like, what the fuck? Who is this guy? What? So the 9, that's like absolutely one of my favorites. It's not my top favorite, but it's my favorite for that specific reason. The way that you use details is, I would use that chapter as an example to other writers. I would say, you want to know why details matter? Read this. So there's that one. The other story, James, your opening chapter, the Sidot Drive chapter, is like stepping into a movie set. That is, I can feel it. I can feel you. I can feel your heart. It is ageless. I can feel all ages of you. I can feel the child. It's gorgeous. And I can see it. I can smell it. Like, it's an all sensory experience. If I was to use that chapter as an example for writers, it's about setting the scene. And not just how pretty it is, but like setting the scene, that like all of it. But my favorite is Chippendale. Hands down. The Chippendale scene, I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, no. Oh my God. Oh my God, no. Oh my God. I'm not gonna like, but so when it happens, I'm like, holy mother of what? Oh my God. Like, I felt like that. Oh my God. Oh my God. So the Chippendale scene is my totally my favorite scene. Aside from the fact that I can go, yeah, my friend James is a Chippendale. I know him. He like wore the bow tie and the whole thing. Aside from that, I love that scene. I think it's a short film unto itself.
Yeah, probably.
It's wicked. Okay, my last question for you now is, and thank you for bringing little Jimmy out. I always say that books call to us. There's, how many people do you know in this world that go, you have a book in you, you have a book in you, you have a book in you. Details are one thing. There's lots of great details in the world that we want to share, but that, to me, that's not story. That's not story. Books call to us to write them because I believe that there's transformation on the other side of saying yes. And the question that you and I landed on in the very beginning, after I read the first draft, I said, James, I think this book is about, can my dream life be my real life? And that's what you're up against, is answering that question. And so I'd love to close this conversation on, what did you come up with for your own transformation? What did you come up with? Can it?
Yeah. James is a living personification of, can my fantasy life be my reality? It's a blend of the two, and that's little Jimmy and Jim and James showing up, and this book and the work that I will be doing from this book moving forward into the world truly is a blend of reality and fantasy, because I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for all of that. If it wasn't for the fantasy that lives so strong in me about saying, hey, you know what, Tina? When this book is out, like I'm gone. Like I'm going to be touring this. I'm going to be speaking all over the world. I'm going to be going to Scotland doing a book tour. You know, that's little Jimmy, and it's also a fucking reality. You know, and it's just like this is it. Everything now that I've seen in the book journey and reconnecting through the story writing of my life, it's like this is it. It's almost like I've penned the script for me to go into the next sequel of my life, and it's a beautiful fucking thing to have that feeling, and to know uh, it doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter, like when you get it and you're like, yeah, this is it. It's good to be alive, and this is how I'm gonna, carry on. It's like, it's pretty fucking mind-blowing. So yeah.
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 I realized that my question to you was, can my dream life be my real life? And then you yeah, corrected it. And it wasn't that. It was exactly what you said. Can my fantasy life be my real life? And what I see now is that between fantasy and real is the dream.
Is the dream, is the middle lane. And you hear me talk middle lane in my coaching all the time. That's my middle lane, right? And that middle lane, as you know, is like a bowling alley with bumpers, with rails on the side for kids. And I can sway. I can go a little bit Jimmy, a little bit more fantasy. I can come back a little bit more hard strategy, reality, James. But I'll never go there, or I'll never go way out there. That's the sweet spot, because way out there, James doesn't exist. It's all Jimmy. And way out there, there's no Jimmy with James. And if you're going to be a hero, and if you're going to live and talk wisdom, you need to be in the middle lane with that old and young, and that hero within.
Well, that's how we're going to end this, Mr. James. You're tracking your quote, aren't you? I'm
I am.
watching you.
I'm also tracking. We talked earlier about when it lands, when you're on stage or something,
Yeah.
and it lands. I just had that moment. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, you just know those truthful moments. You're like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my friend, I love you.
I love you.
You are all in with love. And your book is now available for pre-sales. The link to that will be in this post. Please pre-buy Mr. James's book and know that it will be autographed. And there's lots of other ways that you can get you can pre-buy your book. And James is a coach. He coached me through the creation of Oh My God, which is a solo show that I wrote. He directed the digital version of that. He held a container for my own fantasy and reality and dream moment. And for that, I am forever grateful. And this book, listeners, is here for you so that you too can invite the dream into your life and be all in with love. So thank you, James, and good luck with all the awesomeness coming. And may we share a stage together again soon.
I
Hey?
hope so. I look forward to that time. Not hope. I trust that will happen. And thank you for having me, and thank you for all you do, Tina. I can speak on behalf of many people that you've impacted. Thank you very much.
All right, James. Till next time.